And at the same time, I will start sharing my screen. Yes. Okay, so yes, welcome to the webinar for the VOJEXT Starts Residency information session. Yes, we have started with our cameras off, and I would like to ask that they stay off so as not to overload the network. And a Q&A session is planned at the end of the program. However, during the presentation, I will also raise a few questions that we very often receive to address them in advance. Roughly, the day will follow a welcome and introduction, the presentation of the VOJEXT project by our project coordinator, Maria Eugenia Beltran from UPM. We will go into the details of the residency themes, so challenge-driven theme 1 and 2 by our technology partner, Robotnik, and the mission-driven theme by our technology partner, IIT, for that specific theme. And then afterwards, we will have a brief moment for going over the application process and platform by Luisa from F6S Network, which is now managing the applications. And then we will conclude with a Q&A. I would like to first start introducing our team and VOJEXT Future Lab, who is taking the lead role in implementing the STARTS residency program under VOJEXT. For those who are unfamiliar to VOJEXT, it is a nonprofit organization. It's a public research and cultural institute and a makerspace. We have been partner of the STARTS program for a very long time. In our public research, we really focus on a critical approach to technology and how that connects to society. We have a deep interest in bridging science, technology, and society through art. And VOJEXT operates on the philosophical paradigms of open, fair, and inclusive. We are really looking into ways in which we can make technology and society open, accessible, and with a deep connection to the way we live and the way we operate between humans and non-humans at large. VOJEXT works within different labs and different research groups. STARTS residency program will be predominantly run by the MAKE group, of which this team that you see on the screen here are a part. Myself, I will be the contact person for this program. Natalia is our project manager. Margarita is art mentor. And Lucas is our head of program. Tonya, who I believe is also joining in this session right now, is responsible for communication, and Zoe is also our expert in the STARTS program. Very briefly about the VOJEXT STARTS residency. The residency is a part of the VOJEXT European Commission funded project VOJEXT. And the goal of the STARTS residency is to bring arts closer to industry. We have a very keen interest in art-driven innovation, in bringing in art-driven innovation in the context of industry. Through the STARTS residency, we also want to complement VOJEXT technology development by involving artists in collaboration with technology providers to work around these questions of how we societally understand and situate technology, how we reflect on that in manufacturing environment, and how collaboration between robots and workers can be critically approached from a social perspective, social acceptance perspective as well. And also we would like to develop arts-driven innovation experiments. We call them experiments because they usually start with problematizing around certain challenges. And we don't know from the beginning what is going to be produced at the end, which is the exciting part of these experiments. And by doing so, we would like to also close this gap between the manufacturing industry and art. And in the process, we would like to also bring artists closer with the digital innovation hubs, which play a big role in this project. And we do this by two different themes. One is challenge-driven projects, where we have published 2 calls under robotics and construction and robotics and arts and crafts. And we also have a mission-driven theme, which focuses mostly on social robots. Mission-driven theme is more of an open experimentation platform, where we start talking about some alternative uses and speculative design questions around technology and manufacturing. The total budget of the residency program is 90,000 euros. We are looking at awarding 3 residencies, 30,000 euro per each residency. And the duration for the residencies is going to be 10 months. Very briefly about the application process. The application for the S+T+ARTS residency is being carried out in 2 steps. The first step is what you're doing right now. We are collecting statement of interests, and based on the statement of interests, then we will continue with the full proposal development. Now, from the statement of interest process to the full development process, there's going to be an eligibility check. We also would like to focus on the concepts which are mostly aligned with the challenges published. And we also would like to see that the past work and the track record of the proposing artists are again in line with the challenges that are published. There is a clear demonstration that the work can be undertaken by the artist or the artist groups that are proposing the concept. The deadline for submitting the statement of interest and brief concepts through the F6S platform is 23rd of December, so it's this coming Friday. And after that, we will take around 2 weeks, a week and a half, also considering the Christmas break in between, to get to a short list, and we will send invitations to those who will be invited to develop the full proposals on January 6th. So you will hear from us on January 6th. Full proposal development is going to be carried out in collaboration with the consultation, in collaboration and consultation with technology partners. And our technology partners for the challenge-driven 2 residencies will be Robotnik, and our technology provider for the mission-driven residency will be IIT, where they will also have technology supporters by UPM and another technology provider partner in the VOJEXT project. Deadline for submission for the full proposals is going to be February 3rd, and we are hoping to kick off the residencies in March 2023. At this point, we are receiving very consistently this question, so that's why I would like to raise it, bring it to your attention. Can an applicant join only as step 2 without submitting a statement of interest? And the answer is no. And the reason for that is we are providing substantial support for full proposal development with the help of our technology partners, Robotnik and IIT. So it is important that we pass on to the full proposal development phase those projects, those concepts, which are best fit for the program. Who is the funding for? The funding is for artists predominantly. And the reason why I'm so much emphasizing that is sometimes we get interests from industrial designers, architects, who may also have artistic backgrounds, and they're more than welcome, but the call is most specifically designed for artists. We really would like to emphasize this art-driven innovation aspect, and therefore connect artists with the industry. And by artists, we mean freelancers, legal entities. A member of an artist collective is also welcome. And the eligibility criteria states that STARTS residencies fund artists. An artist is a physical person, a collective of individual or entities registered under NACE code 9003, artistic creation. It includes self-employed individuals and individual artists or collectives from eligible countries also can apply. And a list of eligible countries is provided as part of the guideline document. Again, a very common question that we receive: can we apply as two artists? Theoretically, yes, you can, or at least work as two artists, but the artist agreement will be signed with a single entity and artist, which means that we would like to see a single artist as the sole responsible for carrying out the activities foreseen in the residency program and the related residency program. And the fund is going to be awarded to a single artist. So if it's a collaborative project that you see yourself working with an artist, you need to make sure that one artist takes responsibility, one artist becomes the signatory of the grant agreement. And therefore, as far as STARTS residency program is concerned, we really deal with a single artist. I would like to very briefly also mention what lies ahead. So once you start with the residency program, we roughly divided the program cycle into three, where we would like the residents to focus on research and ideation in the first 2 months. And the next 4 months is really working on constraints and possible solutions for the design approach, for the artistic creation approach that you bring in. And the final 4 months is focused on testing your concept, testing the alternative forms, and co-designing and production with our technology partners. Throughout the process, you will need access to a robotic platform, which again, we will explain in more details while we're talking about the themes, specific themes. And it will require some on-site work, testing, travel, in this case to the technology providers' sites at Robotnik in Valencia or IIT in Italy. Now, I would like to pass the word to our project coordinator, Xenia, to explain to us a little bit about the value of joint experimentation in digital technologies for manufacturing and construction, which is abbreviated as VOJEXT. Yes, please, Xenia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Zainab. Good morning, everybody. We would like to introduce VOJEXT as a project and what we do at this moment, and actually what is the aims, okay, that we have. So VOJEXT is about experimentation, okay, it's joint experimentation among several stakeholders in the especially in the manufacturing and construction areas as such. It's a project that was funded under the framework of Horizon 2020, and the idea is to provide experimentation to support favorable environments and frameworks, okay, from technological point of view, especially from robotics, okay, to support cognitive autonomous systems, okay, and human-robot interaction. We are a consortium of 20 partners from 11 countries, okay? And our aim is actually to really generate this innovative experimentation with robots, okay? And actually make it more dynamic, not only from technological point of view, but actually to support science-driven approaches, okay, and engagement with not only robotics, but which is around it, which is the cyber physical system, which provides the high level, okay, and support and link, okay, in between the manufacturing systems, okay, and robotics as such. How we're doing so? I mean, we have 5 big use cases, okay? They are in several domains, and actually those are the ones that are integrated as such in our project. Can you go back, please? One more. Okay. So actually these 5 use cases will be integrated with the full system in these 42 months that actually we have in the project, okay? And as for those, okay, we have these use cases in several areas like electronics, construction environments, arts and crafts, polyurethane or plastics as such, okay, and actually in automotive companies or big automotive companies. We support we're linked not only with the DIH through the I4MS framework, okay, which is quite finishes little bit right now, and actually with artists, okay, through the S+T+ARTS program as such. So next one, please. As for such, okay, what we are doing is like we're working with mobile robots, okay, and actually to support new ways of automations and grasping, okay, for the different use cases and areas, actually enabling new configurations and scalability to support, okay, better precision when we do manipulation of the objects, but also when we do the layouts of the different use cases and actually use of robotic and actually human-robot collaboration as such. Next one, please. This is the current consortium and main consortium. Besides this, okay, we have open calls for SMEs and for artists, okay, and these are the 20 partners that that we have now. As you see, we have different stakeholders from different sizes of companies that are our use cases, from research centers, universities, and SMEs and non-profit organizations as such. Next one, please. So actually, as commented, okay, our use cases and the ones that are brought through the open calls, both from artists and SMEs, okay, are the way for us to validate and scale the different developments that we're doing through the project as such. We are linked, as commented, with also DIH. With this, one of our main aims is to reach SMEs, okay, and all the experimentations that we will do with artists and within the project through the use cases. The idea is to scale them and actually make them broad to several or a lot of SMEs through what is called the DIH, which are the digital innovation hubs, which are hubs for innovation that support small companies, especially small and mid-cap companies as such. And next one, please. No, I will give the floor, okay, to actually the next the artist challenge to be explained. So I'll give the floor to Robotnik to actually explain the robotics in construction challenge. Thank you, Zeynep.
Thank you, Xenia. Miguel, are you
Yes.
there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right,
You
super.
can hear me? Okay.
Yes,
That's
we
fine.
can hear you well. So the floor is yours, and we start with our 2 challenges.
Okay. So yeah, this the 2 challenges that we are talking about here are specifically for the challenge-driven residencies.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, for the first one, we are talking here about robotics in constructions. Let's say that this is kind of coupled with an existing use case in the project already. But what we are trying to do here is what we plan to do here is to develop this kind of creative new approach, specifically to this human-robot collaboration. Maybe this is kind of the most important thing, to be creative here, because actually we are normally as a company in service robotics, we are mainly focused in the results actually. But we kind of lost track of some other ways of doing the same thing that can be better at many ways. So we are trying here to design a safe and productive interaction, but actually we want to handle this kind of a wide surface object, different plasterboards, but also kind of painting walls, having different ending for the walls, and we want to experiment with different techniques, gripping, manipulation, different tools, and maybe mimicking this kind of hand type end effectors. In this way, we can kind of recreate what a human could do to treat these surfaces. Actually, we want to use this robotic platform. So we will have this autonomous level robot where we can also have some kind of teleoperation for teaching specific movements. But all of this, we still need to understand what is this kind of movement, if it is intuitive enough, how different patterns can be given to the robot, and in the end, explore all of these possibilities that the robot could have. Also, it is important to have this interaction with the robot, so that a human operator can actually share space and share ideas with the robot, check how this programming can be done, and also it is important this specific bullet point about modularity with the movement. Actually, we plan to have this robot in a kind of closed space, so there's no need to have also other challenging parts of this specific work, like the navigation. Maybe we are going to just move in a range of 1 to 5 meters. So we really want to focus in this kind of creative way of manipulating, gripping objects and mimicking human movements to have different plasterboards, walls, covers. There are some design ideas here that we can cover. Maybe the surface quality and the mechanical handling of different objects, like these plasterboards, different walls, other kind of objects that can be found in a construction environment that need this kind of some kind of a specific ending, some specific operation or process that we want to give to these objects, so that they are just very well finished. And here we can have different gestural ways of painting, for instance, splashing. A lot of tools can be used here. A lot of tools that actually have been used broadly by human operator, but we can also have this robotic device doing the same work here. The same with the materials, any kind of component. Actually, the tools are going to be a thing here, because there are not that many tools. So we also plan to have in this challenge like new tools that can be adapted to the robot and can be used in this for different techniques. Maybe a sprayer machine can be developed for just a new technique that is still not there, but also some other tools to just help this plastering these kind of things. And then the outcomes that we expect are these kind of components that we were talking about, maybe the sprayer things, maybe some other tools that are really adapted to one specific process. But they need to be in a kind of format that can be transferred to this specific VOJEXT platform that we are using here, which is mainly the RV Kairos, which is a mobile manipulator that we Robotic are manufacturing. They are normally having these robotic arms, the UR10, UR5, different robotic arms are already in the market, but okay, these ones are kind of widely used, and also they are the ones that we are normally using with the RD Kairos. That's really a reason for having this kind of interoperability, maybe some integration issues. All of the devices that need to be mounted into the robot, we will help with that, but maybe if we kind of stick to what is there, that would be easier. Of course, we are open to ideas from the artist and from the outcomer. So that's one thing. Also, we could be using some simulations. We are just pretty sure that we will use some specific software components that will be needed to help with these processes. So any kind of shortcuts is also expected here as a result of the process, and any kind of specific demonstration with a finished surface, that would be something that we also expect. Also, different documentation, like any kind of videos, maybe some manuals, maybe some media content. Also, this will be very helpful for just disseminate the results to the rest of the project. And then, if it is the case, any kind of software repository to be open source, so that other partners or other artists can just keep with a good project that we have here in the future. So that would be also very, very interesting. I think that's it for the first one. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for the next one, we have this kind of different approach in the arts and crafts. Okay, actually they are kind of they have similarities, but we want also to be able here to have some kind of efficient collaboration with specific works that are normally devoted to this kind of remote production for some artisanal products. So yeah, maybe the challenge here is also like being able to produce interfaces so that a robot can actually mimic specific movements of an operator. But yeah, we want to have this kind of meaningful division of labor. So maybe you as an artist or as an artisan would be actually just doing some specific manual stuff, and then the robot could do a different thing, just side by side, by mounting different ways of different parts, maybe by displacing materials. And yeah, for doing that, maybe we also plan to have some kind of a solution that it's yeah, dealing with this kind of deliberation, but also with the teaching. Maybe some haptics there. Maybe the robot is there, but the operator is not there. So you could teleoperate something and do some specific process with your hands and transmitting this movement to the robot. And this can be also like used by the robot to learn how to do a specific movements. Actually, this is this idea that some surgery robots are already there for just some interfaces where the surgeon can actually move the robot with just 2 fingers, for instance. And this kind of controlling idea is really interesting. Up to now, there's no such really standard for having a really meaningful way of moving the whole robot with just 2 hands, or with something that is actually mimicking on movement, or with something that it is just really intuitive to use. The controls are normally joysticks or something really ad hoc, but yeah, I think we are kind of lacking this kind of specific creative way of handling a robot. So maybe we expect here in this challenge to have this solution. So yeah, the expected outcomes are this kind of hardware, software, haptic devices, interfaces, really anything that can help here for yeah, this gripping manipulation, specific process and sensitive movements for an interaction with the robot. Maybe we expect also a demonstrator how this new creation can be used for controlling the robot, and then maybe some experimentations on reports. Of course, this will again have a relation with some software development. So maybe we expect these kind of repositories to be open source so that anyone can actually continue their work later on. And I think that's it.
Yes, thank you, Miguel. And maybe
Okay.
before we conclude, can you very briefly introduce Robotnik and
Sure.
how Robotnik will be working with artists?
Yes. Okay. So Robotnik, it's a company based in Spain. We are a service robotic company. We have been also working already with robots for more than 15 years. And actually, we manufacture different mobile platforms and also mobile manipulators. This is our expertise, actually. Maybe most of them are actually general purpose, but yeah, we also target specific areas like this production, maybe some logistics. We also have different robots for surveillance. We are kind of open in the all ranges of service robotics. We also manufacture the robots here in Valencia, so that's a really nice thing. And we will just provide this support for the artists that are coming for this internship here. So yeah, we just we are just willing to have someone really creative that can help us with some other approaches that we are normally not really following here. So
Okay, thank you very much, Miguel.
okay.
I think that was very informative.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So now we continue with mission-driven theme, social robots, and this theme is going to be hosted by IIT, and I would like to give you the floor to Francesco to explain this residency. Oh, I am so sorry about, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Yes, Francesco, and maybe it's also useful to start talking very briefly about IIT and how you will be working with artists and supporting them.
Yeah, maybe I'll do start with presenting the institute, and then I go through the slides, and then in the end I might add something about how we support, because it's better to explain the mission-driven social robot residency. If that's okay.
Yes, of course. Floor is yours.
Okay. So I start by presenting the Institute, Istituto Italiano di Tecnologia. It's where I work. It's a private foundation doing research. And in particular, in this department, we work on human-robot interaction and cognitive robotics, which means how the robots can be socially interacting with individuals so that they can adapt to individuals. And also we try to find ways for the robots to be readable, to be easy to be interpreted for other human partners. In order to do that, definitely we need to study robots. We do robotics for sure, but also we need to study humans. And that's why in our group, we are a multidisciplinary group at the Italian Institute of Technology, where we have philosophers, we have neuroscientists, we have psychologists, and also engineers. So the actual center is a Center for Human Technologies in Genoa, so Italy. And this is the place where we will spend most of the time of this residency in also programming robots and understanding how humans can interact with robots. Maybe we can go through the actual, in the next slide, we can go through the actual presentation of the objectives and the scope of this mission-driven social robot residency. And I would like you to really focus on this picture. This is the main picture that I want you to keep in mind throughout the entire presentation of mine. The idea is that here we see a robotic arm interacting with people, and there is a sort of a mutual understanding here happening. Not only the robot understands what the person is doing with vision, with any traditional mechanism, but also on the other way around, the robot is readable, is easy to interpret for the individual in the scene. This mutual understanding is what we do, and what we claim is important for social robots, in order to address the social challenge that we have here. So the societal challenge is deriving definitely from the fact that in digital transformation in manufacturing, but not only in manufacturing, there is an increasing number of situations where, you know, the robot is interacting with the human in a sort of a collaboration scenario. So we talk about collaborative robotics. But for the modern societies, this has to be addressed from the ethical and social paradigms, such as aspects such as you know, value, the cohabitation, but also the social and ethical acceptance of this robotic solution is a big paramount. Without this social and ethical acceptance, we won't have robots interacting naturally in our scenarios. And as you might have understood from what I'm saying, the objective is definitely focused on an interaction between humans and robots, such as the picture that you see here in this slide. It's definitely a big challenge because we need to, maybe the challenge at the bottom of the slide explains how we need to address a very, very big keywords, such as safe human-robot interaction. This is very important. And the other keywords that I would like to stress possibly is that we need to be efficient and trusted worker-robot. We need to have this efficient and trusted worker-robot collaboration. Trust is a big keyword also in our research. Without the trust, that sometimes is mutual, but without the trust that we put in the robots, we won't have human-robot interaction. And the other aspect is the social acceptance. So the solutions that we provide should be accepted by society. And that's a big challenge that we are facing. So now in the next slide, we move to some very specific design considerations. There are fundamental in order to better understand objectives and scopes. Definitely, we need the robot to detect the human presence and interpret the human movement. And the goal of this is that we want the robot to adapting to the human. That's very important. And it's an important aspect because we have a robot, and the robot plays actions, acts in the environment. So the adaptation is a very important aspect, so that we can actually have actions that are meaningful for the human observer. In order to do that, the robot has most of the time has to adopt the human-like movement. In our research, we do that. We create movements that are human-like, that are meaningful, that communicate also emotional states, okay? And these are very important when we want to create a natural interaction between the robot and the human. And so we go to the coordination of joint movements in a situation where the robot is actually moving like humans. We want this movement to be coordinated between the robot and the human. And obviously, this is done in order to have a creative and functional outcome. And we can now, for example, list a couple of important aspects, such as the performative collaboration, which is an interesting outcome, or synchronized actions.
I thought you wanted to start with the outcome, so that's why I changed. But if you would like me to stay on this one, then we can.
Yeah. It's
all right. Sorry.
Yes, almost finished. So the idea is that then we need to design experimentation and interactive technologies based on, obviously here there is a quite constraint, which is the mobile platforms, robotic platforms that we need to use in order to work in small and tight spaces, which is related to the VOJEXT project. And we also need to design a simulation to have a different proposal ranging from physical space layouts for human and robots. And the goal again is safe human-robot interaction and collaboration. So now in the next slide, where we actually see, yes, definitely expected outcomes. Here we need to a simulation for optimal design for adoption in small limited spaces. We need to provide software for the detection and the interpretation of human movements. And on this, IIT can help, because this is what we do every day. And the idea is that we not only address this perception stage in the robot, but also in the action. We address the action stage, which is the adoption of human-like movements that are meaningful, that express emotions, such as we do for puppeteers and puppets, where they actually are controlled, so to create emotional states, to communicate an emotional state. We need to have a human-robot interaction indicators that support integration of the robots. And here I would like to highlight the social and adoption as keywords. We will have a formal public demonstration, an installation public area in Genoa, possibly, with this robotic platform that we created together with the artists. And this robotic platform has to be capable of interacting public audience attending this public space. The platform can be designed together in some forms of behaviors or also in hardware with the artist. And we need to have a safe interaction, which is the important point for us. And also we should address research questions for further exploration. Finally, open design of hardware and software. This is what we are after. For both hardware and software, IIT can support. The important aspect is that we need to transfer possibly these results to the VOJEXT platform. Recordings and documentation are still expected outcomes. And that's it.
Yes. And maybe a little bit about how IIT is going to work with artists and support artists in the process.
Yes, sure. I mentioned briefly, but after we know now what this mission-driven social robots residency is all about, I can say that IIT can support for the preliminary part, where we have a proper design of the robotic interaction, which means, as is explained here, means a little bit of hardware design. So how the robot should look like, and also software design, which is actually how the robot should behave in two aspects, perception and action. That's always there for robots. This is the design part, which is the preliminary part, and IIT can support there. And also there is a second part where we actually going through the implementation of the behavior that the robot has to demonstrate in the residency in Genoa. Also for that, we have facilities, we have also personnel in IIT that can support this development, which means that we can dedicate our time to support the artist in all the aspects. And the other thing that I wanted to express is that we also have some very useful interfaces that allow the artist to start immediately to work on the robot without bothering for the low-level control of the robot or the perception. So that's something that we bring into this game, which means that we'll simplify the whole process. It will speed it up, which means that we will focus more intensively on the actual behavior of the robot. I think I mentioned everything. So this is more or less what IIT can provide as a support. And obviously, I'm happy to answer any question you have.
Zeynep, I also
Yes.
would like to comment because this is not only about all the part of behavior. In this residence, all the part of having simulation for small spaces for optimization and taking this robot that really needs to work in these spaces, small spaces, will be supported by UPM and Nebrija. It's not only IIT who is supporting this use case, and probably some time of the residence will be spent in Spain. Okay, so also to comment on this, I think it's quite important. And also it's important the part of the simulation, because this, okay, the idea of this is that this will be taken to the training platform, okay, of VOJEXT to actually be a scale to the SMEs, okay, which is kind of like a big part of the aim of the VOJEXT projects as such. So this experimentation, the idea is that also could be reflected, and the role of the artist, okay, could be a scale to the SMEs as such. So actually, it's in the outcome. So it's we are using in VOJEXT right now visual components. It's very easy to use. We have third licenses, okay, which can be given, and actually training also can be provided.
Okay, thank you very much, Ksenia. And if there are any questions related to how this interaction is going to work, we can address them during the Q&A. Now I would like to invite Luisa to tell us a little bit about how the F6S platform works, and in relation to that, how we're going to navigate from application to evaluation. Luisa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me well?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, so the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Zeynep, and thank you for having me. So first of all, I'm Luisa from F6S network. So F6S is a international platform that gathers investors and companies looking for funding. So we offer different types of funding, and specifically in this project, we are partners, and we are responsible for the open call, one of the open calls that's being carried out in this project. And here we are supporting the VAR team with the platform during the application phase. Next, please. So first of all, I will give you a brief of how to apply in a very practical way on the platform. We are supported by a very intuitive platform that is called F6S platform. And I'm going to start with some highlights that's very important for you to prepare your applications and then submit on the platform. So first of all, it's very important for you to read the rules of the call. So everything is very well described on the VOJEXT website. So you can see here on the step 1 the address of the website. And then it's very important to read all the instructions in order to understand the eligibility and the criteria, and also the scope of the call, and of course check if it fits to your goals, the goals of your companies. So it's very important to read the guide for applicants, for example, and then you can move forward to the application itself on the platform. This is something that I would like to highlight because we usually go through different types of evaluations, and of course we will check, for example, if your application is from an eligible country, and if you are aware of all the scope and can propose something that fits the objectives of the call. And that's why I'm highlighting this initial part, let's say, before the application itself. And then you on the website, you will find all the documents and the description of the call in a summarized way, and also in a very complete way through the documents. And then you find a button to click to be guided to the website. So this call involves two different steps. The first step is you will fill a form, a very simple form, very intuitive, and then you after submitting this, as mentioned in the beginning, by the 23rd of December, our team will evaluate your proposal. And then you receive an invitation to participate on the second stage, so or a rejection letter. So this is the first step. This first step is very simple. So then we will move. You only have to fill a form on the platform. So the next slide, please, Zainab. And then after the 23rd, you will receive this invitation to participate in the second stage. And then you will follow the same process. So you will find a template on the platform of the full proposal, and there you will describe the whole project that you would like to carry out in the VOJEXT project. So again, please read the instructions. The documents will be there, and check if all the details, for example, the eligibility criteria and the scores, and how do we the team will evaluate your proposal. It's very important to have all this in mind in order to prepare a quality proposal. And of course, the template will be there, and then you can fill all this template, and then upload your proposal on the platform. So next. So here you can see just a brief of this template. It's very important that you check the eligibility criteria to keep in mind how we are going to evaluate in order to strengthen and sharpen your proposal, and also the budget that will be available. So the team will provide an Excel tool for you to fill it. So it's very important to keep attention to these details, because there are some competitions, and it is very important for you to prepare a quality proposal. So next one, please. So here in this second stage, the evaluation is more elaborated. So as I mentioned before, the first stage involves an eligibility check on the platform to invite you or not for the next stage. But this stage is more elaborated, because a pool of external evaluators will be invited to come on board to evaluate your proposals in a very transparent and fair way and unbiased way. And then if accepted, you move to a jury day that involves a panel, an online presentation, and an interview with the board members. And in the end, a consensus meeting will take place in order to decide who will advance to the implementation stage of the projects. And you can see here in this picture, the phases lasts more about around 4 weeks. So since the eligibility check until the announcement of the results, so 4 weeks each, and then we move to the implementation itself that will start in March. So next one, please. So here's just a briefing of the legal stage, but as I mentioned, if you are accepted and invited to advance, a legal stage will take place here, that you will sign a subgrant agreement with the consortium. It involves a legal process itself, like, for example, documents double check, and you will provide bank account information in a very practical way. So VAR will be in charge of this process as well. And then after that, you are ready to start your implementation projects. So next one, please. So here's just to wrap up. You can see here the dates. So this first stage we will receive applications by the 23rd of December. So during this period, as mentioned before, will take place an eligibility check, a very simple one, on the platform, and then you will receive an invitation for full proposals. That is the second stage, and then by January to February, you will have the opportunity to fill the full proposal and submit on the form. And in February, the jury will evaluate the proposals. And then in March, the winner's announcement will be carried out. So the subgrant agreement and the kickoff will take place in March 2023. So
can I please ask those participants whose microphones are on to mute themselves?
I think you can mute, Zeynep.
Yeah,
L'accès le plus simple.
Hold on a minute.
I think as an administrator, you can mute
I
it.
can. I just don't. Yeah. Okay. We did it.
Okay. So as I mentioned before, this whole process will take place during the month, between the month and January and March, and the projects will be kicked off in March of 2023. So the next one, please. So here, just to finalize, you can get in touch with our team from different channels. So if you have any questions about the call, you can email to startresidence@vojext.eu. And if you have any specific issue with the platform, you can also reach out F6S IT department directly, that they will be there to support you with any issue, any technical issue on the platform. And the information about the call are on different channels as well. For example, the project website and the VAR and STARTS website. So and we are glad to answer to your question, and we'll be here to support you. So the next one. Oh, the next one is the Q&A answer. So thank you very much. And I will be glad to answer to your questions.
Yes, thank you to all the presenters. And I think now we are ready to address any questions that you might have. Feel free to speak out or put in the chat if you're not in the position to do so. And yeah, we will start with the questions. There is a question now from Katya. Thank you for the presentations. Do you have to relocate for the whole period of the residency, or is it possible to travel meetings and work sessions? You don't have to relocate for the residency, definitely not. We expect some travel to be involved, but also it is good that that you secure some form of access to the types of robotic platforms that the technology partners have mentioned, so that you can also carry out some of the activities or most of the activities where you reside. Is there anything that Francesco or Miguel or Xenia would like to address in relation to this question?
Not on my side.
Okay.
No, not really. I mean, for us, I think we will have for sure some kind of a specific lab prepared for the residency. But I actually think that we need to kind of know in advance and prepare a little bit a specific time that the incoming person is going to spend here. So
Yes.
yeah, I think it's a matter of just agreeing with some dates. I'm not really expecting a full relocation by anybody. So more like, I don't know, some weeks. That could be perfect. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, thank you. And I have to say that a lot of these details will be cleared out during the full proposal phase. It will depend on how you design your project, how you plan your residency. And therefore, as part of your proposal, I think your work and timeline will be necessary to address this issue of how you connect between your studio or the lab that you work with and also the technology providers. But thank you, Katya, that was a good question. Any other? Laura, I was wondering if it's okay if I already have an engineering team that will work with me during the residency, for example, from a university that I collaborate with. That is definitely okay that you work with a team. It is just important, you know, that you will at the same time be working with the technology providers, partners, and therefore hosts in the VOJEXT. And so while you're developing, hopefully, your full proposal, it would be good to describe how these teams will work together. And also I have to stress once again that it is the STARTS residency is an agreement between the project and VAG on behalf of the VOJEXT project and yourself. So for as long as you are the sole responsible, we invite all types of partnerships that is necessary or good to make this project a success. Thank you for your time. From Spain, I have a question about this. Since I am registered in activities, but also how can I prove, or how would you check that criteria? Yeah, as long as you are registered, Monica, as an artist, and that NACE code is really a legal terminology as far as I'm concerned, as long as you are registered as an artist and you can make that part of your documentation, that you have a number that we can refer to, it's all fine.
Hi, hi, sorry. Do you hear me?
Yes, Monica.
Okay. Yeah, hi. Since there's like Spanish people around that I've heard, maybe it's easy for me to explain by phone. The thing is that I was just checking because I am registered from like artistic activities for like a very long time. But in the document, I was just checking the documents and it only appears the other one because it appears like the main activity, which is an older activity I was doing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I will have to, if you will check it automatically or if I can send my documents so I can prove that I'm in both.
It's good that if you can,
yeah.
well, it is not a necessity that you should be involved in different activities. So I'm not sure what 2601 is. Can you explain that?
It's more, well, yeah, it's more like a coding and programming.
Yeah.
Service. Yeah,
No.
because I mean, for being an artist that works with code in Spain, it's kind of complicated. Yeah, so
Yes.
so I have both. But since
Yeah.
one was older than the other one, like my main activity like appears the other one, but I am like in both activities. So we have two things. We have the social security and then we have Hacienda. So I'm like in one, it only, for some reason, if I don't know, I was just wondering how will you check it, and because I don't want to be like not legible, which I am, but how can I prove it that I am in a way?
Yeah. Well,
or how will you
please,
check it, or how will you, you know?
Yes, well, sometimes there are questions around having a VAT or a tax number that is associated with the artists. For as long as you can provide that documentation, that is sufficient. So we will check against the documentation.
Yeah, I have a VAT number and everything, but
that's great.
I don't have any. Yeah, but the only thing I'm worried is like if you check my VAT number, it only appears the other registration code, you know. So
it only appears under 2601. You mean?
In one place, yes, and in the other one, no. So can I just upload or send you the information?
Yeah, let's do that. And if we have any questions regarding that, then we will come back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Any concerns are just having received. Hi, Nicola. Yes, another good question. As far as I know, you cannot be receiving more than 100,000 euros from the H2020 funding. I'm not sure if this applies to your case. I doubt. But as long as you remain within those limits, I believe it's acceptable. But I will double check to make sure that that is the case.
Hello, I would have a question.
Yes.
So my question is, how do you imagine the role of the artist within the project? Because sometimes I was not clear if it's the role of the artist to propose an artwork in reaction to the research and also utilizing the research and the developed technologies, or do you imagine the artist to be part of the research team and basically enrich it with criticism and creative ideas?
I would definitely say the second one. So we see the artist as part of the research, and not only as part of the research, but really leading the research with a critical, artistic, and creative impetus. So it will be the artist who will run the entire investigative part, but as well as the solution creator part. But I would also invite Francesco and Miguel to comment on that, as well as Ksenia, if she's still with us, to make that connection clear. But definitely the artist is at the heart of the research.
It sounds great. I was just wondering, maybe that's then the outcome can be an artwork, or the outcome is more targeting a research experiment or a physical prototype of something, of a process that is led by an artist?
Especially in the mission-driven residency, there is an explicit expectation that the outcome is also expressed as an artistic expression or a creative expression. In the second challenge driven. So there is still an expectation to see the finished surfaces where the different treatment or painting techniques are applied. So that's partly a part of the creative expression, or the result of the creative process and the research process that involves robotics and human movement. So we definitely would like to see a creative expression, a form of creative expression as part of these residencies. But sometimes the boundary between creative expression, robotics, and code gets very much blurred. So it will depend on the artist's vision to articulate how that creative expression will come into the work.
Okay, yes, just to add,
Yes.
I think you explained it perfectly. I mean, it's definitely a good thing to have this kind of artwork. Again, I think for the challenge, we expect also like you might be achieving this kind of a final piece of artwork by using some part of the technology. So, I mean, I think it should be kind of a combination of both. I think that's how I see it. But I think, yeah, Zeynep was perfectly explained. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was perfect, but Emmanuel, did we make sense? Or did we
it makes
answer
sense
your
to me.
question? Okay.
Thank you. It sounds good. I was just wondering, sometimes there is I'm afraid of this tendency that the artist gets in this service role.
No.
And then it's not clear about what is the outcome of the residency. And it sounds it sounds clear to me. Thank you.
Yes, we are definitely steering away from that type of a role.
Okay, thank you.
That is not what should be happening. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other questions?
Hi, hello. I have a question regarding the rights over the outcome. Let's say that through this residency, we developed an algorithm or a kind of a generative process that we want to reuse later on in other artworks. Is that going to be a problem, or are we free to reuse whatever we've learned during the residency forward?
Yes, it's also a very good question. We are going to base our artists' agreement on the project general agreement's principles and logic, which means that any IP resulting from this project is shared. That also means that, you are free to use what you produce. And obviously, in terms of intellectual property, there are different forms involved when you start creating a creative expression, which is subject to copyright and moral rights, which reside with the artist. So we will have a more elaborate explanation of that in the artist agreement, but in principle, they are shared. It's a joint ownership.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Welcome. Thanks for the questions. So this question is from Mark. I was wondering about the use of specific robots. There are some presented, but is it possible to work with other platforms? I would like to leave this question to Miguel and Francesco. And if she's here, Ksenia, but I believe she had to leave. I will make a very brief introduction to that question. It is strongly encouraged to work with the types of robots that can possibly make it easier for the software art to be transferable to VOJEXT platform. So that's why, that's why we emphasize that those types of platforms should be used. But Francesco and Miguel, please.
No, it's just like you said. I mean, on our side, I will have to say that okay, it is in our interest to have this kind of any kind of development or whatever that it's an outcome from this call should be somehow transferable to something that we can actually work with with the robots that we have. So the good thing is that normally we are using kind of an open source, like everybody knows a little bit of ROS, and I think we kind of have an open API, and as long as some of the resource can be transferable, should be okay. It is also like, I mean, from my point of view, it would be like, okay, the robots that we can actually provide for experimentation are the ones that we are having here. So as long as you have access to these other technologies, and as long as at some point you can make it transferable, that should be okay. Yeah, I don't see why not. But.
Yeah, I was here, Mark here. I was asking it because of in the mission-driven residency, there's a specific robot that's a fixed robot. It's an arm, you know. It's about this confined space. I was wondering, is it also possible in that mission-driven residency to work with, let's say, movable robots or robots that are actually driving, for example?
Maybe I can say something about that mission, the residency. So definitely the residency is a little bit different because the focus should be social robots. In the sense that it's possible to also work on a little bit on the hardware. I say a little bit because definitely there are some constraints that we need to respect. One of these is that the robots should go in the direction of what we highlighted as relevant robots in VOJEXT, which is quite a broad range of robots, honestly. That includes, for example, robots that have a mobile platform that can move with wheels in the environment. That includes robots that have different kinds of robotic arms, but not only that. Okay, so I should agree with what Zeynep said, in the sense that it's important that we can transfer whatever outcome we get into an implementation in VOJEXT. But it's also true that the social robot residency is a little bit free to work around the idea of a VOJEXT robot a little bit. And so there is room for the artist to also change some aspects of the artwork, going obviously in the same direction of the project, but it's part of the residency to also address that hardware design, as I mentioned.
So if I understand correctly, it can be a mobile robot.
Yeah. So if you're referring to the actual pictures, those are pictures that help me to explain the concept of a social robot, and not just to show a specific platform. There is no specific platform at the moment for the social robot residency. So mobile robots are included. It's important that we keep in mind that there are some constraints, but very, very broad constraints on how the robot should look like in relation to the VOJEXT project. Does this answer your question, Mark?
I believe it does. Yeah, I think the critical thing to note here is that the outcome should be relatable, but also transferable technically to the VOJEXT platforms. I think that's important to keep in mind. Okay. Are there any other questions that we can help with? From Tony, I submitted my application too soon with too much enthusiasm. I would love to change a few parts of it. Is there a way still to do this? Yeah, we get really good questions today. Tony, I would like to invite Louisa to answer to that, as it's a platform-related question. I would think yes.
Yes, he can. But please send an email to, I will put my email, or you can forward to the emails that we have mentioned, and then we will change the system status. So it's very important to know what is your application in the platform in order to change the status and to enable you to edit it.
Thank you, Louisa. Is that clear? Could you put the emails again? Of course I can. I will make it. So if you would like to take a screenshot of this. All right. What I will do, Monica, I am not sure if you were able to take a screenshot, but what I will do is after this webinar, I will send to the entire group the emails that you can use for correspondence with the STARTS residency, although they are in the application guidelines. So if you also refer to that document, you will find the emails that you can use. All right, you are very welcome. Any other questions that we can address at this point? And I would like to also remind that, yeah, through those emails at any point in time, you can contact us. And although we are running into the Christmas breaks and some people are taking off, please rest assured that questions before the deadline will definitely be answered. You're welcome. I'm glad you were able to make it, Anna. So if there are no other questions, then I say we can wrap up this session. Thank you to all those who made the time to be here today. We wish you a very pleasant holiday season and a very productive statement of interest and concept writing until the 23rd of December. And we are very excited that you have interest in this program. See you soon, hopefully. We will also share the video on the websites for you, but also for those who couldn't make it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Have a nice week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.